host, Sasha Fierce, and you are listening to an episode of We're All Fucked, a podcast all about sex, dating, non-dating, and relationships with the hopes of improving sexual confidence and skills. Times are crazy nowadays. We should all know how to get fucked the right way. And with me today is Dom. Hey, Dom, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, guys. Let's do this.
Yes, I cannot wait. So first things first, Dom, I know that you are from Pennsylvania, but you live so close, so very close to New Jersey, right over the bridge, that you do spend a lot of time in New Jersey with us and our friends. And early in November, after the voting and everything, they did legalize marijuana in New Jersey. And I am like, as stoners, like the stokiest stokes of stoke.
It's
so fucking cool.
PAs, right? It's coming up for PA, so hopefully we can get that soon too. Absolutely.
I just absolutely cannot wait for it. So thank you for talking about this with us today. So sex while you're high is the topic. So question number one, that, you know, the proposed constitutional amendment, but it passed and which is tremendous. They said that 65% of voters voted in support of marijuana. And I think a lot of that has to do, obviously, with the benefits of marijuana, how it's not a Schedule fucking 1 drug like heroin and cocaine. So it is completely safe. It is non-addictive, and it has a lot of health benefits, and it has a lot of benefits, especially when it comes to being in the bedroom. So comparing sex when you're drunk and sex while you're high is like
whiskey dick is a thing, y'all.
Like, no, thank you. And girls with the, just be on top until I throw up, right? And then it's like, it's so pathetic. And, you know, like, so many people get drunk and have sex spontaneously. You're at a party, whatever, you know. It's just always sloppy. It's never fun. It's never sexy. And you usually don't remember it. And you usually don't have any type of true connection with that person because both of you are kind of just out there, right? But with weed, nah. It's
everybody's mood's lifted. Everybody's got a whole other set of things going on.
It's beautiful. I love it. So let's get to talking nasty about this now, right? So you have a partner that also smokes weed, me as well, which makes for a better time. Not saying that you should be with somebody, not saying that you shouldn't be with somebody who doesn't do it. Everybody has an advice. But it helps stoners being with stoners and having that connection. And so you enjoy it, right? Like versus being sober.
Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know, like it's not like a big deal for me to smoke in a day. It's not like a big event. Like, I'm going to smoke. You know, I'm always fucking smoking something. Like I have 3 different contraptions off camera here that I can easily reach, and I did it on camera already, but you know, it just isn't like a big event for me to smoke, so I'm just like kind of always
we should be smoking right now. We should. Like, duh. I'm gonna grab a joint. What are you smoking? A bong?
I'm smoking a pen.
You're smoking a pen. Okay, I'm gonna grab a joint real quick, and our listeners, I'm sure, will not be upset, but
they'll be fine.
Yeah. So to our wonderful listeners, and I'm gonna, I'm trying to do a video, but whether or not it works, we shall see. I was MIA for a little bit, but I'm back now. I did have a birthday, my 33rd birthday. Was just last Tuesday on December 15. And with the holidays and everything, people have been a little busy. So, but I am back now, and I actually received a lovely bong gift. Let me go find it.
I did see it on your stories. Yeah.
I mean, she's not perfect right now, but this is my new bong, and it has the ice chamber. It has the percolator, and it has like this honeycomb bubbler thing. So it's a really dope piece that I received as a gift that I love so very much. And so, so I smoke, you smoke pens. I have pens.
Yeah.
I smoke joints, I smoke bowls, I smoke bongs. I think everybody has their...
my preference. Blunts are my thing. It's kind of like a cigarette.
It is, because you like smoking cigarettes. So yeah. I originally, when I was in middle school, was into bowls because I can oh my God, I'm saying middle school. Like, okay, so everybody is aware at like 13 years old, I started smoking weed. So yeah, so when I was in middle school, I had my little bowl that I got from somebody's teenage brother or sister or something. I forget.
I did the tinfoil for a while.
The tinfoil, oh my God. Or like a soda can or like a bong made out of like a soda bottle. And so I've been smoking for a very long time. But originally it was like glass. I did a lot of bongs. I had a friend who knew how to make bongs. And then I got into the vape pens, in like 2016 or 17, the vape pens came out.
Oh, yeah.
And with the oils.
But then you're doing that street shit. And it was like, this tastes like fucking bubblegum, but I don't know what the fuck.
Exactly.
I guess we can curse, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We could curse it here. That's totally fine. So, yeah, I'll let that simmer.
I don't know about, sure, it tasted like grapes, but who knew?
Yeah.
But that.
Exactly. It was bonkers. But so now there are just different types of ways to smoke.
Yeah.
How do you prefer to smoke with your partner right before?
Yeah, well, it depends. It just kind of goes, how it goes. Hold on.
That's okay.
Anyway, again, it's not like a planned thing. It's kind of just like, okay, here we are,
Yeah.
We're already in the high.
Got it.
Here we go.
Got it. It's cool. Yeah, we prefer to smoke joints, and so we'll try to do that, and so that's my preferred method right now. But yeah, I sure do love it. The biggest I want to go through a couple of examples of what other people were saying, but obviously there are so many benefits and so many pros to having sex while high on cannabis. In your opinion, what are some of those pros for you?
Well, I honestly think it's just like a general mood thing. I just feel like, it already has natural lifting boosters. You're already kind of loose in a way where you're not, completely out of your mind. You're focused. You definitely know what you want to do. But last, and I just feel like depending on what you are, it just kind of blends into that because you're already kind of chill and you're already kind of doing all of that anyway.
Feeling that.
I mean? Just kind of it also takes down that wall of making things awkward.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You're already kind of in that sort of okay, let's put something on. Okay, let's okay, you know what I mean? It's already
you're relaxed.
Kind of it already kind of just sets that mood for you.
It makes me immediately horny.
Yeah, I don't know, and then add a seltzer or two on it, and it's really just kind of I know we're talking about weed, but you just kind of. I
know, but adding it. Well, that's the thing.
Not stressed about it.
Not getting just drunk and getting that whiskey dick and not being. It's different when you're high and then you add a couple drinks on top of it, so you have that low and then you have that little bit of a high. Because for me, vodka kind of brightens me up. So if I have a couple shots of vodka paired with a joint and then I'm right at that sweet spot and then you just feel really good and relaxed. But it's that euphoric feeling too that I think the marijuana really gives your body more of the just relaxation depending on your strain.
Full body feeling.
It's a whole full
body. And that
body.
comes, once you're more whatever experienced, but you learn about that kind of breath with your orgasm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's already kind of grounding you to just allow that free breath to experience that ultimate experience.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And also depending on the types of strains that you smoke and sativa or indica or a hybrid, how much you smoke, how much before, and so it's all playing around. And like you said, it's you'll just smoke and then you'll just kiss and you'll get into the moment. So I wanted to get into, so that's definitely the biggest benefit and especially what other people are saying. So I went on social media and I asked some people. So I'm going to just shoot out some of these examples. Some of them are really funny. There are absolutely no cons. I smoke every day and it's never been an issue. Some somebody said, listen, if I'm stoned as fuck, just leave me alone. Just, I don't even want it. Like, I just want to be in my own world when I'm high. I actually had somebody say that, which is, and then I gave the,
I'm like that too. Like if it's like a huge like group thing, sometimes it's like, oh fuck, I did too much, or, you know, when you double down on an edible or like something like that, like, I don't know. It hits me in different things, but when I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm high, yeah, you're not fucking touching me. I want to go home.
Dumb.
I just want to go home and like,
and just be.
Going on in my mind.
And just being like, I just need to be high and just like let it ride.
And I hope that I don't die.
Dom, I can't believe I forgot about edibles. I'm talking about smoking and like, you know, the vapes and stuff, but they're the tinctures and they're the edibles. I need to just shoot off a quick story about when I took too much of an edible. And again, to her defense, when I'm high as fuck, like when you're high as fuck, leave me alone. Like I get that. When you're a little stoned, whatever, it's different. I had one of those nerds ropes, and I know you've seen them. Me have them. The whole fucking thing is 400 milligrams.
Right.
And so I'm different with edibles. I don't know if it's my body fat, but it takes forever, if not at all.
6 years.
Like 3 hours, and by that point, I'm already like 4 joints in because I'm like over it. Like
because I'm impatient.
Exactly. So impatient. I have to take it take it at like 4 a.m. and then go back to bed and then like wake up 3 hours later and then I'm high.
I have to starve myself. I think I have to, because anytime I and eat an edible, it hits me, but then it's too much. You know what I mean? I'm like, my brain is melting.
And it does feel that way. It really does. But yeah, so I think that when, so like when you take too much, then it affects you. So going back to what I was saying was, the whole thing was 400 milligrams. And I, at one point, took like 1/4 and it didn't do anything. And then another day I was like, okay, well, let me take half. I had a couple of these, so I had room to play. And so finally I was like, let me see what happens if I take a whole one. Went to go visit my friend. I was supposed to hang out with this person, do the damn thing with this person. And we started off by watching a movie. So the lights went off. I'm laying in the bed. We're cuddling. And he starts. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is fine. I can't move my legs. I can't move my body a little bit. So I'm kind of making out with him. And I'm just kind of like I'm just like, I can only move my face around. And so I felt paralyzed. I couldn't move. And he was on top and I was just like, oh my God. And then I just kind of like fell asleep. I just kind of was like, and that is a nightmare for a straight man to like just be having sex with this inanimate. And he stopped. He stopped and he was like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, I just can't. And he was just like what the fuck?
He thinks he's fucking you so good that he's
that dick was way too big for her, I guess. Like it was so embarrassing because I just couldn't do anything about it and I couldn't quite vocalize what had happened except for I took too much. I took a whole nerd's rope. Like he was supposed to know what that meant. I was like, I ate a whole nerd's rope. He's like, a nerd's rope? What's a nerd's rope? And I'm like, I ate the whole thing. 400 milligrams. 400 milligrams of what? And I'm like, of edible. And he was like, oh my God, like you're fucked up. And I was just like, I just need to ride this out. And I was like, I should just leave. And he was like, no, you can't drive. And I was like, I can't go upstairs. I was like, I can't figure this out. So I totally get Abby saying that like when you're way too stoned, like you can't, like you just can't. But I just wanted to throw that in there because I totally forgot about edibles. They hit you. Like I took that whole edible and then I drove 30 minutes to his house and then we started to watch a movie. By the time it hit, it was like 2 hours later, and it just hit me. It was just like shrooms. It was just like kapow.
I know.
But anyway, that's so funny. So yeah, getting too high is something that she said. But a nice also, it feels more intense, makes you more horny. Everything just This one chick said it also makes me a little quieter so that he doesn't have to hear me talk before or after we fuck. So for the annoying talkative female, hi, like just talking way too much. Hey girl, I get it. I get more introverted when I'm high too, and sometimes it's better to just shut up and take the dick.
Hey.
Or like get that pussy, like just let's feel each other, make love. But yeah, so that's pretty funny. Yeah, like being drunk is definitely not more preferred. Yeah, like as soon as you wake up, smoke, morning sex, have a joint. Like as soon as you wake up and have that morning sex, that is also a beautiful
thing. I hornier in the morning.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
You like, are, you're not.
Oh, I tend to be. I'm like,
I think most people are.
I'm like ready.
You just broke up. You just woke up, and so you're just like, I'm ready for the world. It helps me get out of bed.
Like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. And it like helps too, because it's like you're just like, well, guys get the morning wood and girls get like a little like the pussy's tight and like everybody, kind of is like, oh hey, like good morning, sun's up, new day, feel good. And then
morning wood, you don't have to do any of the work. It's just like
And if you
filled with tea,
right?
Filled with tea and ready.
And if you like don't hit the snooze and you give yourself that extra 15 minutes to be able to do that, that's always my favorite, because it's always the worst when you want to and then like you're running late for work.
Yeah, it's like not gonna happen. Train's coming.
I know, right? It's like I gotta get moving. Like we have 4 minutes. Let's make it happen. Yeah. And then we can go brush our teeth or whatever. But I don't know, whatever you do first. Right. But that's so funny. So yeah, so most people do agree that the pros, as you said, and as I agree, are just feeling that intense feeling, just being relaxed and having that euphoric, sexual experience, touching each other. Nothing like Molly and E would do like with that feeling, but at least this is something that
it's a natural thing. It's a plant after all. And it's a natural booster. It's not anything that's aggressive. It's a vitamin. It's just kind of a natural aid and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's also why it is just so safe and so, hard to alter the way that it works with your body. Of course, when you're getting some type of weed that somebody grows, if it's laced or something, obviously, like, that's why we're trying to legalize this so everybody's smoking healthy, safe marijuana, like, especially when it comes to things like this. But I think that, like, especially having the sativa and the indica and knowing what you like with your body and having the option of being able to, like, just have that feeling that you want, especially the indicas, which give you more of that body high, and just making sure that, you and your partner are just feeling the best. It's so natural. It's so organic. You can't go wrong with just smoking pot. And everybody who smokes pot on the reg is like dope and like chill. And they'll be into like any type of wild, freaky shit, I hope. Not vanilla, boring, personalities. That's wild. Okay, so the cons, there's just the one. Cotton mouth. Cotton mouth. Look at me. I have to drink this. Dry throat, chapped lips. Like, you can't even move your mouth. You're like.
And I hear that, like.
Looking envelopes.
Yeah.
The pussy, like.
It's like sandpaper.
It's like stuck to the fucking pussy. Everything's nasty.
But no, I heard that cotton vagina is a thing too.
What?
Is cotton vagina a thing?
So if you, depending on the strain and depending on how much you smoke, you can literally just dehydrate anything. Like, you don't even sweat. You know what I mean? Like, so pussies get dry for sure.
Okay.
And I hate that. I hate when the mouth gets dry and then like my eyes get dry. I feel like I need contact solution because my eyes are red and swollen and dry. Pussy gets dry, and then everybody's trying to like lick the pussy, but it's like nobody has saliva. So you do this thing where it's just like scoop, like you just try to like sugar, like in tea. It's like let's just keep trying to as much as we can get. And so you sit there trying to get it wet for a good amount of time. Now, I'm a wet person. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm typically, anybody who's been with me is like, what kind of, and I still get that way, you know?
Like the
so
Amazon rainforest.
I got that WAP, and I still have that, you know, Sahara at times when I smoke. I think Gorilla Glue does the worst to me. Write in, guys. Write into me on my Instagram if you agree that Gorilla Glue makes you the dry, and the Kush or whatever. There's something out there, but no. Right now, I'm drinking a lot of this water, and right now I'm already getting, and also it's like papers, right? When you smoke with papers, you get a little more dry.
But I don't understand, because if we smoke cigarettes, you know,
cigarettes make your mouth dry.
I'm like, oh my God.
It's not like that dry, that feeling. Yeah. Well, it's not that so cigarettes will make your mouth dry, but it's not going to make your body dehydrated. There's something about smoking certain marijuana that, like, it makes, like, your body...
I do feel sometimes, I'm like...
You feel like you just need electrolytes or something. I don't drink Gatorade, but I'm about to, because maybe that's... Pedialyte? Yeah, you're right.
I know it's for kids, but
No.
They now have ads for adults because it's good for hangovers and shit. I like Pedialyte.
Are you kidding me? I had a threesome with a couple that had a whole setup of like Advil, Pedialyte, Gatorade, Crown Royal, and just like this whole like, and I was like, yo, and he was like, take all this right now. Like, we need to take all, because we were like in our 30s, and he was just like, we need to take all of this medicine before we start this night. Because not only are we smoking weed, we're going to get a little tipsy, we're going to be upside down and inside and out, and we're going to be dehydrated, and we need to make sure that we're having the best time.
Marathon, baby.
Yo, would you know that shit worked for 14 hours? I was like, how are we doing this? And all the baby oil and lube and everything. I just was like, it was the longest probably session I've ever had, and it all worked. So those are tips for you guys, not just water, but something that has electrolytes, something that will actually keep the momentum going with your fluids. But yeah, and weed doesn't give you a hangover, but if you're like smoking weed and drinking and you fuck, you know, all night, like that's a thing. Like I get acrobatic when I have sex, so like,
but also
you get a headache.
Yeah. Yes,
you're drunk.
Very flexible.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you like, again, with edibles, like, you wake up high, and you're like, can this fucking thing shut off?
It's like 8 to 10 hours. Well, that's the thing. It's like, when you smoke, it hits you immediately. And then you know that in 20 minutes, you're going to come off of it.
And then, you know, smoke again or take another hit or whatever.
And you take another hit, or you microdose like me, like where I'll just like take a couple puffs off of my joint and then I'll put it out. And then like in a half an hour, I'll do the same. Or like just smoke a tiny joint to the head and like do those throughout the day. Or hit the bong. You're good for an hour and whatever. You take an edible, bro, 2 to 5 hours. Let's just see what happens. And then it peaks. And then by the time it peaks, you're like at work. And you're like, oh, fuck, like, I have to calm the fuck down.
They need to calm down with whoever's making these days, because it is like, you're gonna scare people away.
Most of the ones that I get, like, a lot of the ones that I get are the medicinal dispensary packaged with the whatever label bullshit that people can just make themselves, and gummies and chocolates. And then I have people who are home, you know, making homemade cookies and brownies, which people have been doing, like, obviously in the past, but they're like branding them and packaging them and, you know, having like suitcases of them. And then people are ordering like 20 at a time. And these are being homemade in people's kitchens. And you're just like, okay, and like you eat one of those, and like each one of those, I'm sure, will hit you differently. So you have one cookie, you get used to it. You have another cookie, and it hits you differently. It's just too unpredictable to take edibles. But there are people who don't like to smoke, so there are people who prefer to take an edible, wait it out, see what happens. And so, but with edibles, you don't get cotton mouth. Like you do a little. You get cotton mouth.
Sometimes I'm like, I literally turn into a zombie.
Not as, I mean, I turn into
like World War Z.
Yeah.
Like, I am like I literally like start to feel like my tongue is getting puffy. Like sometimes like it's like aggressive.
God, how much do you take?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, like, again, after 40 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'll take a second one. And then in 3 hours.
Maybe that's why, because the impatient.
I'm like, oh, God, that was a terrible decision. Like, I made some, I'd say last February, like right before COVID. And we just kind of threw everything in. Because we did ABV, which is like the baked bud. So like,
yes,
we made like a little butter, and then I just put the can of butter into like a recipe of brownies.
Exactly.
But I was just like, let's get, and I just threw everything in, and I did that, and it did not go well for anybody, and we were literally passed out by 10 p.m. because it was just like too much, and then we all woke up at like 7 a.m. like. And it was still there, so but sometimes it's really a lot. It's like really a lot.
I think you've had just more experiences with edibles than I have, and you've done that terrible thing that everyone talks about, which is taking more because it's not hitting yet, and then it hits you too hard. I took that whole Nerds rope in one shot, and that's why that debilitated me. But other than that, I've taken them to help me sleep through the night, but you wake up a little groggy and high still. And so it's harder to wake up, for me at least, unless you do that thing where you just don't have an alarm and you can wake up whenever, and maybe it's better that way. But I think that it lasts so much longer once it peaks in that weird, like, out of it feeling that you have. I don't know.
Right.
It's harder. It's easier for me to smoke. It's hard to do the edible thing.
Uh-huh.
But that's funny. What else do you think is
saying, like, even Colorado, like going to Colorado and having your pick? I was 19 at the time, but so I couldn't really go in. I was like that shady 19-year-old across the street when I was on tour and everyone could go, and I was like, I'm gonna get some chocolate. But you have your pick. You have the sodas, the thing. That's why I'm so excited to see. I think it's such a cash cow for the Jersey Shore to be, like, could you imagine like a lounge at the Jersey Shore, and like whatever these like little cafes can be, just like in LA in Colorado, you have the sodas, the teas, the da-da-da, the da-da-da, dose dinners, like 6-course dinners that, are like little milligrams at a time. And then by the end, you're like zonked. I think it's going to be awesome. I don't understand why it took this long.
It's like, remember Amsterdam?
We're getting on topic.
Oh, no, that's completely on topic. All of this is completely on topic, because the topic is, the whole podcast is about sex, but the types of things that we incorporate with the sexual experience, it's so important to talk about the bigger scope of it all and how that affects us. But I think that it makes for a great date night if you do go to a restaurant or a lounge where you have this experience like this. Yeah. And if you remember Amsterdam, you're younger than me, but I don't know if you remember being so young, hearing adults talking about how you can just go to Amsterdam and smoke weed or get a weed brownie at a regular coffee shop. Right. That's been a thing for so long that it's like in pop culture that people know and talk about it. But also, since it became so popular, where tourists all over the world were going to Amsterdam just to flood these places and smoke and eat their weed, it became like they don't want that. And so they did a better job at making sure that stopped. So they weren't doing it, and they were like, oh, you need a special license or something like that to be able to do that, whatever. Yeah. Now we're in a place where we can go ahead and do shit like that, where there's a show called Bong Appetit, and there's all these, like different types of recipes, and people out there just having cooking shows and having, I remember my friend, rest in peace, he passed away, but he was a manager for a bar, and he was into all of that stuff, and he was into teas and making teas, and he made this really cool cannabis tea that he showed people, and they really liked it, and he actually started infusing it in some of the cocktails, and he was doing this before it was a thing to be able to use this in drinks and ice cream and more than just brownies and cookies. It's so fascinating how many different ways you can ingest this beautiful, wonderful medicinal plant.
I think that's why we're going to have a new Roaring 20s.
Ooh, did you see that? That was brilliant when I saw that. After the freaking, in 1918, Spanish flu. Yep. They had a party.
Yeah.
I keep saying
ours was on the actual start of the party, but whatever.
It's all good.
I'll take this.
The next round of the Roaring 20s.
Yeah, I really think the roaring 20s are coming, especially.
Can we bring Fringe back?
What'd you say?
Can we bring Fringe back?
Yeah, like, let's go.
Let's just wear costumes.
Boys should be able to wear what they want to wear. Like, it's a really weird time of, like,
I think we're all
like,
just...
status quo is kind of going away, and it's like everyone is actually being themselves and thinking for themselves and being exposed to so much culture, because we have literally a TV screen that we can look up anything that we want to, and we can connect with people all over the world every day. And it's like sort of like, wow, like even for me, I started texting in 6th grade. You know what I mean? So I was always kind of getting everybody's perspective, whether, you know, looking up theater videos from the West End, but I was always kind of, we had the opportunity to, with technology, to kind of bring everybody together. And I just feel like it's going to happen with this. And everyone's just kind of like wearing what they want, smoking what they want, partying how they want to, you know, and hopefully...
It is. It has kind of turned into a free-for-all and a big exercise of the right of freedom of speech. And I think that a lot of people are changing their ways or have changed their ways, and people are getting better, and people are they're evaluating themselves and what they're about. And I think a lot of people have grown this year and have put themselves in a place where I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to smoke weed. We're going to make it legal this time. We're going to pass this. We're going to make sure the rights of these people and immigrants and everybody has these rights. And where are we right now? It's 2020. Like, look at how many times we have not been able to get better. And here we are going through this entire pandemic where now we're looking at ourselves like, we need to fix this. And so, you know, right? And like part of the idea...
Oh, I lost it.
That's okay, love. And part of the idea of me wanting to do this podcast, and it's awesome that I have this platform to even be able to do this. Little old me, I'm nobody to be able to sit here in my apartment and speak about matters that are important to me, and have a platform where I can share it with other people. And the entire point and the excitement of this is we are all literally going through all of this together. And I think that the more we learn about the options that we have sexually, especially because there's so many ways in our lives that we have been controlled, and society will always try to tell us traditionally how to deal with ourselves. And I think that me, of all people, everybody knows I'm a fire sign. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm insane. I will talk about tits, ass, pussy in front of your grandma. I'll show my grandma, there are just so many aspects of just like, go out there and do whatever you want, and, you know, go and talk about sex. And we need to be more open about sex and more open about the fact that 65% of, you know, New Jerseyans like thought that we should smoke marijuana. All of the people, like, I can't tell you how many people I reached out to who said that there are so many pros to having sex and being high, and the literal con is that you get cotton mouth. It's like, but everything else is just, it's so beautiful medicinally, and it's so beautiful sexually and spiritually, and, you know, all these different ways. And I think that I'm just so happy. I'm high right now. I'm so happy that weed is legal in New Jersey. I'm so happy that I get to experience sex while high with the person I'm with right now, and I will continue to do so. I want to, before we wrap up, unless you have anything else to add.
No.
You're good? Any fun?
I can't say better than that.
Yeah, right? I mean, I just want to wrap up with a couple of different things. So, cannabis enhances emotional bonding, helps release inhibition, increases emotional bonding between partners, especially, improves anxiety, helps people get out of their heads and back into their bodies, and it can help overcome a lack of motivation. But there is oversedation, which happens, you know, aside from, right, the drying of the mouth, it's the oversedation. That's also like a con. But it helps release you from your inhibitions and impair your decision making. So you let loose. You do all those things. You touch. It increases your sexuality and arousal, and it also helps to prolong. So also for people, it's helped to prolong the actual amount of time that you're having sex, where you're not just a minute man, you know, like it can, you know, and then for that blood flow and everything. I mean, this is just all great stuff. some strains that they suggest you should smoke if you want to boost your libido. And so these are the final, the just the tip. Get it?
Yeah.
So all the tips that I'm going to give my listeners here before we wrap up are the types of strains of weed that you can smoke to help boost your libido. 2 of them are do-si-dos and wedding cake, because you want to have high levels of terpene in order to boost your libido. If you are masturbating, you can smoke an indica, which is called LA Confidential, or a sativa called Amnesia Haze. They're popular when it comes to self-pleasure, because I guess, I don't know, you can focus on yourself but nobody else in that moment. For anxiety, Kush, Bubba Kush, any Kush is really good. Those types of indicas and hybrids. And then they have different strains that help promote different things, obviously medically and physically. And so when you think of those things, you know, if you want to enhance your sensitivity to touch, bubblegum Kush, sour diesel, these Gorilla Glues, these stronger, you know, types. Yeah, the stronger ones that get you feeling like are the ones that are more powerful while you're having sex. And then there's the ones that relax you and help you with anxiety, and those are the indicas. So holy crap. Well, that has been fun to talk about, because that is majority of the time I have sex, I'm doing it while high. Getting fucked while high.
Yeah.
Dom, thank you so much for joining us. Let me close off here with my final notes. So the last tip is hydration. And whatever you can do to maximize that experience, go ahead and do it. Lube, water, whatever you need, electrolytes. Guys, go ahead, go out there, get high, get fucked. Thanks again, Dom, for being here with us today. I hope to bring you back.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. All right, let me go finish this joint. Bye.
Bye.
Please join me next week when we discuss pillow talk and dirty talk, words that are said while getting fucked in bed. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. For more pleasure and direct contact, follow me on Instagram at We're All Fucked Podcast. Or you can email me at podcastbysasha@gmail.com. A huge thanks to our sexy listeners and our guest host for today.